who sent that. Congresswoman Mary Gay Scanlon, Speaker Joanna McClinton, Representative Gina Curry, Representative Jennifer O'Mara. We have here Representative Lisa Borowski, Representative Heather Boyd sends her regards. So does Representative Kruger, Mayor Ed Brown, Mayor Ron Hughes, the Delaware County Council is here. Sharon Hill Borough Council is here. The Delaware County Black Caucus is here. The Delaware County Police Chief Association is here. The PA Black Mayors Coalition, the Pennsylvania Legislative Black Caucus, leaders in the Pennsylvania faith community, Delaware County Immigrants Affair Commission, Swarthmore Police Department, Chief of Police Raymond Stufflet. We have Ryan Boyer from the Labor District Council. We have Councilwoman Tamika Williams from Chester. We have Media's own Mayor, Joy Washington, and also Wolfie Stanley and Gaston from Akana. And also we have James Harper from Local 413. And we have the Mayor of Rutledge here. Kamal Sharif, sorry, Mayor. So now we're going to open up with some prayer and some remarks from Iman Muhammad Jamandi and Pastor Lonnie Hernan.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. In the name of Allah, the most compassionate, the most merciful, all praise is due to Allah, Lord of all creation, the giver of life, the source of peace, justice, mercy, and protection. O Allah, we begin by expressing our gratitude to you. We thank you for your protection, for averting tragedy, and by safeguarding innocent life. Every blessing, every moment of protection is from you alone. O Allah, continue to protect Sheriff Siddiq Kamara, his family, and all who serve this community with integrity and dedication. Grant him wisdom in leadership, steadiness in times of difficulty, humility in success, and compassion towards all people. O Allah, protect all who serve the public, law enforcement officers, first responders, elected officials, and county leaders. Make them instrument of justice, fairness, and peace. O our Lord, purify our heart from hatred, prejudice, racism, and every inclination towards violence. Make us to see one another as neighbors and fellow human beings, not as strangers and adversaries. As you remind us in the Holy Quran, in which I quote, O mankind, we created you from a male and female and made you into nations and tribes so that you may know one another. Indeed, the most honor of you is the most righteous among you. O Allah, bless this county, bless this commonwealth. Bless our nation with protection, wisdom, and unity. Make us bearers of hope rather than fear, builder of bridges rather than war, and servant of peace in all that we do. In Allah's name I pray, thank you.
God, we're grateful for this great gathering of leaders today, of this great community, of this great county, elected officials, first responders, our law enforcement, our elected officials. We thank you that we gather here today because we gather to stamp out hate and to show love and compassion and kindness. And we pray that our gathering will not be in vain, that we'll work together, serve together to make our county, to make our country a better place. We remember the words of King today that said, injustice anywhere, threat is a threat to justice everywhere. Thank you again for this great gathering, and we pray your blessing upon this time of sharing. Amen.
Thank you, thank you. Also want to recognize Mayor Cotner from Richland Town, Bucks County. Thank you on behalf of the Black Mayors Association. Also, to our speakers, we would like to ensure and make sure that we do around 2 to 3 minutes. All right? 2 to 3 minutes. No disrespect me, man. I love you. Well, good morning, everyone. Again, my name is Malcolm Yates, and I stand before you as one of the conveners of the Delaware County Black Caucus. I chair the caucus alongside of Dr. Lana Womack, Athea Lewis, Peter Reichert, and Dr. Bonnie Breeze Bentoom, who you'll hear later from this afternoon. The Delaware County Black Caucus is a 501c3 advocacy organization whose mission is to serve as an information and advocacy vehicle to advance the interests and improve the overall quality of life for African American citizens of Delaware County. And we've been doing that since 2018. I stand before you today not just as a convener of the Delaware County Black Caucus, but as a resident, an advocate, and most importantly, as a friend. Recently, our community reached a historic milestone. We elected Sadiq Kamara as Sheriff of Delaware County. And in doing so, he made history becoming the youngest sheriff in the country and the first Liberian American to hold office in the county. We celebrated this progress. We celebrated this representation. And we celebrated this young man willing to step into the arena to serve his community. But progress always faced resistance. And just days ago, he received a vile, threatening, racist, and Islamophobic voicemail by then a faceless coward operating in the shadows who tried to use hate, xenophobia, and intimidation to tear down a duly elected official. Which brought me to a fundamental question. A question that defines the character of a community. And that question is, what do you do when your friends are being attacked? Do you sit complacent? Do you look the other way hoping the storm passes? Do you whisper in private but remain silent in public? Or do you stand up? Do you speak up? Do you call for accountability? Let me be clear. The Delaware County Black Caucus do not sit complacent. We do not cower in the face of bigotry. When our brothers and sisters are under attack, we stand up. The threats aimed at Sheriff Kamara were not just an attack on one man. They were attacked on every single one of us that believe in this country and believe in Delaware County. It shouldn't matter where you come from, how you pray, or what you look like. These xenophobic and racist remarks are a desperate attempt to drag us back to a dark past. But guess what? We are not going back. To the cowardly man who recently got caught, your intimidation tactics has failed. You thought your words was going to isolate Sadiq. You thought you could instill fear. And instead, you united us. And as you see here, represented by the coalitions of folks from Delaware County, Montgomery County, Bucks County, Philadelphia. The district attorney has responded swiftly, bringing this coward to justice. And we, the Black Caucus, thank you for that prompt response. But to the community, our community, I say this, our work does not end. We have a moral duty to wrap our arms around Sheriff Kamara. We must show him and the rest of the world that hate has no home here in Delaware County. So when your friends are under attack, you don't abandon them. You become their shield. You amplify their voice. Sheriff Camara has made it clear that he will not be deterred from doing the job which he was elected to do. He is standing strong, and as long as I have breath in my lungs, and as long as this Black Caucus exists, he will never stand alone. We will not sit complacent. We will stand up. We will protect our own, and we will continue to fight for a Delaware County where progress cannot be stopped by prejudice. Thank you. Now we're going to have state legislative remarks by Senator Carney, State Representative Carol Kazim, and State Representative Greg Scott, as long as Lisa Borowski.
Thank you, Malcolm. Good morning. I want to first thank the Delaware Black Caucus for bringing us here today. You know, we're here for one reason, and that's to stand with Sheriff Sadiq Kamara and every man and woman of the Delaware County Sheriff's Office after the racist, threatening, and hate-filled voicemails from last week. Now, what happened was unacceptable. Plainly, unmistakably unacceptable. It was criminal in nature, meant to intimidate, meant to divide, meant to sow fear. And I know that we will not be shaken by it. Here in Delaware County and across the country, great progress has been made in fairness, equity, and representation over the past several generations. But no one here is naive enough to believe that the views expressed in those voicemails have vanished. They have diminished, yes, but they have not disappeared. And when they go unchallenged, they can spread and metastasize like a cancer. And that is why gathering here publicly matters. It would have been easy for something like this to be brushed aside or dismissed as just another angry voice. But hate is expressed, when it's expressed this plainly, ignoring it is not an option. Naming it, rejecting it, and standing together is how communities stay strong. But let me be clear, Delaware County will stand firm against any slide backwards. The Delaware County Black Caucus, County Council, Southwest Legislative Caucus are all united in this commitment. Yes, we are living in a moment when many federal policymakers and national voices from the highest offices in the land are pushing racist rhetoric and divisive, dangerous policies that embolden bias and target people indiscriminately with an obvious and painful focus on people of color. Yes, racist dog whistles blowing in Washington can be heard here in Delaware County. And we've seen how this rhetoric gives cover to people who think they can openly express ugly, hateful views in our community. But we all say, not here, not in Delco.
Not in Delco. That's right.
Now, Sheriff Camara has met this ugliness with steadiness and resolve, and he has the full support of this community. We'd also like to thank District Attorney Tanner Rouse and the county's DA office for their diligent work in identifying the suspect and bringing charges. A clear message that threats and racist intimidation will be met with swift action in Delaware County. We will call out hate every time it appears, and we will meet it with unity and clarity every single time. We stand with our sheriff. We stand with his deputies. We stand with all members of the community when we say with one voice that this kind of hatred has no place in Delaware County. Not now, not ever. Thank you. I should mention that all four senators have representation here today. 4 senators represent Delaware County. John Kane is here in the back, but he's kind of shy. Senator Williams, you will hear from, and Senator Amanda Capoletti wished she would be here, but she couldn't make it today. So thank you.
Peace and blessings to everyone here. Thank you. I stand here with my colleague, Representative Lisa Borowski, and on behalf of the Delaware County House delegation, we condemn the recent terroristic threats directed at Delaware County Sheriff Sadiq Kamara. There is no place for intimidation, violence, or hate against those who choose to serve and live in any of the communities throughout our county or our state. Public servants, regardless of political party, position should never be subjected to threats of violence for carrying out their own sworn responsibilities or for their faith, background, or culture. An attack or threat against one public official is an attack on the principles of democracy, public service, and the rule of law that bind our Commonwealth together. As members of the Pennsylvania House of Representatives, we stand in unwavering solidarity with Sheriff Kamara, his family, and the dedicated professionals and public servants of Delaware County. We also stand with the Delaware County's diverse communities, including our vibrant immigrant communities, who also deserve, and I'm going to say that again, who also deserve to live free from fear, hate, and intimidation. Now that the arrest has been made, those responsible for these terroristic threats must be held fully accountable, and a clear action must be set that such acts of intimidation and violence against public servants will not be tolerated. The safety of our elected officials, even our community, law enforcement officers, public employees, and every resident is paramount. We refuse to accept a climate where threats and fear are used to silence, intimidate, or undermine those who serve the public. Violence and hate have no place here in Delaware County or anywhere across the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. We call on all Pennsylvanians to reject the rhetoric that fuels division and instead embrace, respect, and peacefully exchange ideas. While we may disagree on issues and policies, there is never a justification for threats of violence or acts of terror. The Delaware County House delegation remains steadfast in its commitment to protecting our communities and supporting those who dedicate their lives to public service. We will continue to stand against and unite. We reaffirm the acts of terroristic threats against public servants or anyone in our community must be met with swift justice and the full force of the law. As you all can see, we have a full force right here behind us, people of different kind, different faiths, different backgrounds, and that is who we are here in Delaware County and in this southeast region. And I remember 2 years ago, I said right here on this specific ground, get with the program that there's a new sheriff in town, and that was before Sadiq got in. And now, as God always do, he bring those prophecies to pass. So I'm going to say the same thing I said 2 years ago. Get with the program. There's a new sheriff in town. Thank you.
Thank you, State Rep. I'd like to also recognize Executive Director of the Governor's Commission on African American Affairs, Sierra Dunn. Now, I would like to call up Councilman Richard Womack and Councilwoman Monica Taylor.
Good morning, everyone. I am Delaware Council Chair Richard Womack, and I am joined with my colleague, Dr. Monica Taylor. On behalf of Delaware County colleagues, we stand on behalf of our elected sheriff, Sadiq Kamara, and we also stand against any hate that has impacted him or his family. Just over 1 week ago, a person threatened violence upon our sheriff. They did so in terms that were graphic, disgusting, and clearly motivated by racial and religious hate. So many people out here today of all backgrounds. They have rallied to Sheriff Kareem's side. Yes, I'm standing among them as well. So many has focused on and clearly, loudly condemned the threats of violence, racism, and Islamophobic. I also want to tell you today, but as we stood, we should make it perfectly clear that our Sheriff Kamara is not standing alone. I am proud to note that our District Attorney, Tanner Rouse, has brought about charges and arrested the alleged perpetrator of these crimes and charged them with, among other things, terroristic threats And I'd like to thank our DA and his criminal investigation team for their quick and effective work. The work is far from finished, and I will say that hatred, racism, don't have a place in this country, much less in Delaware County. We will continue to stomp out hatred. We will continue to bury racism. We will not tolerate it. My colleagues on council said we will not stand for it, and we will continue to fight against it. And we will continue, if it means protesting and rally, we will do so. We have a lot of work to do here at the county to determine what else can be done to build a future that is safer, more welcoming, and more accepting to the one we have today. We have to work together as Delco residents to see humanity in each other's eyes, to know that no matter the color of your skin, your religion, your upbringing, or your zip code, we are part of one common future. There's a path toward a more peaceful, a more just, a more dignified world. Even when it feels like we are no longer on that path, I know it's there. And I know that when enough of us stand up against this kind of hatred, it helps us to find our path again and to work further from darkness into a brighter day. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. I would like to also recognize the president of the Media Boroughs NAACP, Ms. Cynthia Jeter, and also the mayor of Morton Borough, Michelle Roberts. Next up will be Alaska Wisner, Commissioner of the Delaware County Immigrant Affairs Commission.
Statement on behalf of the Delaware County Commission on Immigrant Affairs. Members of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. The Delaware County Commission on Immigrant Affairs strongly condemns the hateful and racist attack against Delaware County Sheriff Siddiq Kamara on July 18, 2026. There is no place for racism, threats, and hate in our community. Sheriff Kamara was elected to serve the people of Delaware County with honor and integrity. No one should be attacked or threatened because of their race, background, religion, or where they come from. We stand with Sheriff Kamara, who is also a member of our commission, his family, and the dedicated members of the Delaware County Sheriff Office. We commend law enforcement for their swift investigation and the arrest of the perpetrator. We now urge that the individual be immediately arraigned and appropriate actions taken. This incident serves as a painful reminder that members of our immigrant communities continue to face discrimination, intimidation, and hatred. We reaffirm that our immigrant community deserve dignity, respect, equal protection under the law, and the opportunity to live, work, and serve without fear. Immigrants have invaluable contributions. Immigrants have made invaluable contributions to our economic, culture, and civic life of Delaware County. And they deserve to be treated with the same respect and humanity afforded every resident. We call on all residents, community leaders, organizations, and elected officials to work together to stop hate and prevent incidents like this from happening again. We must speak out against racism, supporters of anyone other, and build a community where everyone feels safe and respected. The Delaware County of Immigration Affairs is committed to working with our partners across the county to foster understanding, promote inclusion, protect vulnerable communities, and ensure that Delaware County remains a place where every person, regardless of race, ethnicity, nationality, immigration status, is welcome, respected, and able to live with safety and peace. Delaware County is stronger when we stand together. We reject hate, embrace diversity, and remain committed to making our county a welcoming place for all. May God bless the people of Delaware County. May God bless the state of Pennsylvania, and may God bless the United States of America. Respectfully submitted, Alaska Wilson, Commissioner, Delaware County Commissioner, Immigrant Affairs.
Next, we would like to have Sharon Hill Borough Council President, Ms. Tanya Allen.
Good afternoon. My name is Tanya Allen, and I am the Council President in Sharon Hill Borough here in Delaware County. I'm joined by Councilman William Felder and also Councilman Rodney Hill as we stand in solidarity with Sheriff Sadiq Kamara against the hate that he personally experienced and chose to share with us to shed light on it. So in our roles as municipal leaders, we are charged with hearing the needs of our communities and then responding to them, and at times responding in terms of standard operating procedures. And so as a municipal leader today, in these times where threats of harm are as real as threats to our infrastructure, the summer of 2026 has brought us more storms than I can recall. And so when trees go down and power lines go down, we react. We remove them and we repair. So my ask as a municipal leader today, when I think about Sheriff Kamara's experience, and as I've learned how many others of our legislators and leaders in our communities have similar experiences, is that we bring these to light. We shine a light on them, we do our part, we engage our communities, we facilitate the discussions and be real about what's happening in the towns. Because we're standing here on the courtroom steps, but the festering hate happens in the towns, in people's hearts and in their homes. And in 1967, Dr. King said, "Darkness cannot remove darkness, only light can. Hate can't remove hate, only love can." And so my ask is, in these many years later, that we show light. We don't let these things happen obscurely. We don't let them happen in the dark. We stand together in solidarity. We talk to our communities, and we ensure them that as municipal leaders, we'll do our part to make sure we don't engage with people who don't share the one common core value of safety and respect for each other. I'm not suggesting that our hearts and minds will always align on any different thing, but our core principle, respectability and the safety, and never using harm or threats against any individual, elected or any citizen of our county, is acceptable. So when we ensure our communities that as municipal leaders and our legislators and our county leaders that we align just on that piece, we bring light to the darkness. I ask that we show love to our communities by having the conversation and ensuring people that we want to see right things go forward and that we condemn acts of hate. We have no tolerance for violence, political violence, or violence against any citizen at any time. So again, we stand in solidarity with Sheriff Kamara and his family and the Sheriff's Department, and my heart is full that there's an arrest made and that we have all of these people here to say that we won't stand for hate or violence. And then I ask that we take it home, that we have the honest conversation, show each other love, and show each other what we're going to do and how we're going to work to remove the same undercurrent that has lasted all of these years in our community. We're going to shine light on it, and we're going to love each other by having honest conversations. I thank you.
Also like to recognize Representative Greg Scott from Montgomery County is in the house. Next, we will be having some reflections from Senator Anthony Hardy Williams.
Good morning to everyone who's here. And before I start with my formal comments, I want to thank those folks who've organized and worked diligently to get us to a space so that we can provide public comment. There was a lot of work put into this, and I will tell you that for everyone who was here for Sadiq, multiply that by the thousands of people who do not hold public positions, do not speak with power, but are wondering where this nation is directed as it relates to them. Those who are not able to come out here today because they are literally fearful that someone with a mask, with no identification, will be here in the shadows to put them in a car, drive them to a detention center without due process. Think about the thousands of people who don't have power and the ability to organize, who are at home today and says, who speaks for me when I get these threats in a public place? I want to thank all of you who gathered here to take your time out of your busy schedules to be here to do that. I'm not speaking today as simply a state senator. I'm speaking here because my friend Sadiq Kamara cannot. He probably will, unfortunately, be a part of a trial, not because he chooses to be, but because he will be required to be. And so he does not want to have his comments reflected in a way that it can be effectively biasing a jury. But he is my friend, so I do know what he and others like him feel. And so hopefully I speak from the heart on their behalf. Can you imagine escaping a country gripped in a bloody civil war and escaping with your family, looking to the promise of a country that somebody has described a place of opportunity for all? Can you imagine getting here, educating yourself formally so that you can serve this nation in law enforcement, despite the protracted tension between people of color and law enforcement, protecting government officials at the highest level, and traveling internationally to interrupt crimes against this country? Can you imagine, in spite of your first and last name not being Jones or Smith, deciding to run for office and being the first from an immigrant family to be elected to a county-wide office in Delaware County? Then imagine, despite obstacles presented and dreams achieved, someone would interrupt your true values to society with vile, vicious, racist, and violent comments. At that moment, even the most fervent believer in this country would have to question, will I ever prove myself to be enough? Despite knowing that the community from which you have ascended has for generations excelled in every field in this country. Why do we as a community become victims of this verbal violence when all we want to do is be accepted as equal? But as the song goes, we rise. All of us gather here today, not because we believe, but because we know our Constitution and our country represents the greatest human experiment in democracy. Black and brown people know the reality of the systemic and consistent burden of bigotry and racism that are burned into our childhood, teenage, and adult memories. Moments that could paralyze most, but in spite of that, we push forward. Thank you, Sharif. Thank you, Sheriff, for bringing this toxic perspective to public attention. No longer will we gather to lament about what is now a nationally accepted standard of overt racism through words, action, or policy. No longer is acceptable that words do not match action. Regardless of political affiliation, religious denomination, field of commerce, or social group, silence in this space without action makes you complicit. Let me underscore that. I am a profoundly elected official in a party, but it is no longer okay to celebrate Juneteenth as if it is a moment that is holier than thou, and then tomorrow on the 20th, we go back to wiping out DEI and no one says a word about it. No longer is it okay to have headlines about anti-Semitic behavior or biases towards sexual orientation without the same cry or vigilance towards racism in this country. Understand, these are the things that I hear every single day when people say, why should I vote for my community? They want to feel like they're a part of a group that fights fervently for them. And by the way, if you're of another political persuasion, it is no longer allowed because you're part of a political persuasion that you are fearful of an individual who meets with racists on a daily basis to fear him so much that you don't stand up for the human rights of all Americans. To that end, there's much work to be done on behalf of every American who desires a country that includes every human gift, Democrat, Republican, progressive, conservative, gay or straight, man or woman, non-binary, whoever it may be. Today we start by sending a message to those who do not share this vision of America, those who feel comfortable expressing their hatred through verbal threats or physical violence. The man who threatened Sharif Kamara should not see any leniency or favor in his prosecution. He should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, including terroristic threats and other charges that carry severe penalties beyond fines. That means he should go to jail. Actual incarceration should be the minimum standards as it relates to his offenses. Let me not leave you on such a negative note. We're gathered here to affirm not only that we exist, that we are not going away, that you cannot wipe us out by just simply removing us from the history books. We are here, living in live time, paying our taxes, defending our country, serving in the military, serving in law enforcement, serving in the government. So whether you decide to attack the Smithsonian, we are here. This is the good American versus those who want to rob America of its grand experiment: freedom, opportunity, and peace for all citizens. We are the examples of what this country can produce: a collage of human spirit, a collage of excellence, a collage of determination, and never giving up. Again, I thank all of those who worked so diligently behind the scenes to bring us together. I thank all of us who are of the one mind and spirit, not just to protect our sheriffs, but to understand we represent all citizens of all hues: Polish, Irish, Italian, immigrant, Native American, naturalized citizens. We're here in a collective voice to say that that person who thought it okay to call the highest ranking law enforcement person in Delaware County, think about this, the person who is in government, the person who's supposed to keep us in order, that man felt so comfortable in this current time that he would record his statement. Not once, but twice, as reminded by my dear friend, Representative Greg Scott. The boldness of this moment has to be repudiated, not just talked about, but legislated. That means we need to go back to Harrisburg and to federal government, to local government, look at our policies, look at the laws, and look at how we protect those of us who believe in a Constitution that represents us all. And for those of us who will say it's just for one group, no. Just like the Civil Rights Movement opened up the door for the disabled, the gay, the straight, women, we continue to do that work now. It is a national crisis that we sit in. It's a national response that you're seeing today. So thank you. God bless you.
I'd like to also acknowledge Philadelphia's Commissioner, Chairman Omar Sabir. So now we'll be having closing remarks by our convener, Dr. Bonnie Breeze Bentoon.
Good morning, everyone. In times like these, there are moments that require more than our attention. They require our voice. This is one of those moments. The hateful and threatening message directed toward our Delaware County Sheriff, Sadiq Camara, was not simply an attack on one public servant. It was an attack on our shared humanity and a painful reminder that racism remains a stain on the conscience of this nation. In times like these, silence is no longer an option. As conveners of the Delaware County Black Caucus, we do not speak from the sidelines. We speak from our responsibility to the people we serve. We stand beside Sheriff Camara, his family, and every person who has carried the burden and the blessing of leading while black, leading while immigrant, or leading while serving in spaces where their presence is questioned before their purpose is recognized. In times like these, courage must speak louder than fear. Black people have always known how to care for one another. We have survived because we refuse to let one another stand alone. Our immigrant brothers and sisters know that same resilience. We may not all pray to the same God. We may not all worship in the same way. We may not all share the same traditions or politics. Our humanity, however, calls us to stand together. Our eyes are open. We read the headlines. We pay attention. We bear witness. We speak. Delaware County must do more than condemn hate. Delaware County must confront it. As conveners of the Delaware County Black Caucus, we expect more of Delaware County. We expect our elected officials, our institutions, our faith communities, our corporate sponsors, and every resident to meet this moment with courage, accountability, and action. Our community deserves nothing less. History is watching Delaware County. More importantly, our children are. What will they remember about us? In times like these, we do not look away. In times like these, we do not leave one another to stand alone. In times like these, we become the community we say we are. Hate may knock at our door. It will never have a seat at our table. And I'm going to end with this. Black blessings to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Breeze Bentoon. And if you have some questions for the Delaware County Black Caucus, you want a little bit more, you can go to dcblackcaucus.org. And also, we're going to continue to have conversations through the Governor's Advisory Commission listening session at Delco Community College, August 5th, 6 o'clock. Now, I would like to open it up for some questions from the media or the community.
So First of all, he's hired a very powerful and effective attorney. So research him. He's very skilled. And be clear what he's doing. He's troubled about his client's actions. So he's trying to affect the jury pool. It's called reasonable doubt. And so that's a smart thing to do, to put out in the public that it was an honest mistake, but be very clear there's a problem. And I hope everyone who's involved in this case understands it. Whoever he was calling back, it's called a terroristic threat. You threaten to kill someone. Whether it's Sadiq or the barber or the funeral director or the guy on the street, he threatened to kill somebody, period. There's no excusing that. And by the way, I heard the part about the telemarketer. When he called the phone twice, he got a voicemail that told him where he was calling. It was very clear he was not calling a telemarketer, responding. There's a big gap in that logic. It's called common sense. He knew what office he was calling, and he knew he was calling an individual. He didn't say he was hunting a tribe. He said he was hunting an individual. So while he's effectively working at possibly causing someone who may be on the jury to be confused, let us as a group of common sense folk, law enforcement, white, black, electeds, folks of religious background, that dog don't hunt.
Any other questions?